Namaste everyone, this is Steven from YogaWorks. Welcome to your practice and well done. You have clicked play on this video, which indicates without a doubt that you are keen to start your yoga practice, or at the very least give it a try or see what it's all about. And on a bigger level, that you are showing up for your own health, for your well-being, for your growth, for your freedom. So that is the biggest step. Not the yoga practice. I would say half of the work is getting started, and then the other half of the work is what we'll get into in a moment. And in this very short introductory session, I just want to show you what yoga is all about and give you just a little taste for absolute beginners. I'm going to assume that you have no idea what you're doing and you don't even know if you will enjoy the yoga practice, or if you'll continue, if it's something for you, and you're just giving it a little try. So you might be here thinking you're the least flexible person in the world. Maybe you're quite stressed, quite depleted. Maybe you have all kinds of ideas that you have picked up from social media, the most flexible people doing handstands and deep back bends and incredible pretzel poses on beaches with palm trees and sunsets behind them. And the reality of yoga is quite different. What we're really trying to do is we're trying to make our body and our mind and our breath and our whole system function a little bit better. Let's just start there. So keeping that in mind, close your eyes, sit comfortably. You can sit like me on the shins. You can also sit cross-legged or any other way. Even if you have to sit on a chair, then so be it, sit on a chair. Close your eyes for a moment and just rest your body down. And can you rest your body down without slumping and hanging in the joints? So keep a nice upright spine, keep the shoulders a little bit back, keep the head lifted. And all we're going to do is take 3 slower breaths together. Keep your eyes closed so you can really visualize this flow of breath and focus your mind on that action. Exhale all the breath out for a moment, empty completely. And then take a slow breath in, filling up from the belly to the top of the chest. Take your time. Hold your breath just for a brief moment at the top. And then exhale through the nose, slowly all the air out from the top to the bottom. All the breath through the nose. Inhale slowly, fill up the belly, lower rib cage, chest, all the way up to the shoulders. Pause. Exhale, reverse, and exhale from the top to the bottom, all the air out at the end. Let's do one more like this. Slow inhale, feel your body expand and rise. Get a little bit taller and broader. And as you exhale, relax everything, all the muscles, your face, your neck and shoulders. Just take a moment, let your breath return to normal and see what a huge difference this makes. Just 3 slower breaths. Even if that's all you have time for, you need to go off and do something else, then that is still a victory for this first practice. And then you can blink your eyes open. Let's just move the spine a little bit. We're still sitting in some way or another. As I said, you can even sit on a chair, cross-legged, legs forward, leaning against the wall, whatever helps. And then round your back. So what I'm doing is rolling the shoulders forward, pulling the belly and the chest back and tucking chin to chest. I'm creating this C-shaped curve all the way in the back body. And then do the opposite, rolling shoulders back. So now I'm arching my back, lifting the chest and the belly and contracting all the muscles along the spine and the back. You can even look up if your neck is happy with that. Otherwise, just rather look forward and keep the head neutral. And then we'll move through these 2 with the breath. Exhale, round your back, shoulders forward, look down. Inhale, lift the heart, shoulders roll back. Exhale, look down. This is called cat spine, where we're rounding our back. Inhale, this is called cow spine sometimes, where you hollow, you arch your back. Exhale, rounding. Often we spend a lot of time in this slouched position at our desk. We're exaggerating now. Inhale, arch your back. We don't do this one very often, so this is a really good counter pose to sitting for a long period. Exhale, round, look down, chin to chest. Inhale, you can exaggerate these movements. It's not really possible to go too far here. Exhale, round and expand the back body. Inhale, lift, expand the front body. Good. And settle in the middle. We have two more spinal movements. This was the first one, extension and flexion, forward and back. The second one is off to the side, so place your left hand to the left side somewhere and take the right arm first up and then a little bit over the head, so you start to feel a really good side stretch in the whole side body there. Reaching doesn't really matter how far you go, but we just want to create a bit of a lengthening sensation in our top side here. Couple of breaths here. If you can't breathe comfortably in the pose, it just means you're going too far. So rather back off a little bit and let the breath flow with ease. And then as you return to this, you get a little bit more open, a bit more flexible. You might find some more space, but that's a side effect. That's a detail. Release that right hand to the right. Lift the left arm and take the left arm a little bit over the head until you feel something interesting. You might not have to go very far at all. So rather than focusing on how far you go or the shape of your body, focus on the internal sensations, what is happening, what is contracting, what is lengthening, and how does my breath move through this shape. Return to the middle, that's our second spinal movement. We've got one more, which is a spinal twist. So for this one, place your left hand behind you, and with the right hand I like to hook it over the left knee and then lift the spine first and then turn a little bit to the left. So we're wringing the upper body out, but don't wring so much that again you can't breathe and you can't wait to get out of this pose already. This yoga practice is really horrible. This is not what we're after at all. We're here to first, we're winding things up a little bit in this particular pose, and then we're going to unwind and see if we feel a bit more spacious and open. And then do that, unwind back to the center. Now we're a little bit out of balance, we've only done one side, so we'll attend to that now. Right hand, place it behind you. Left hand, hook it somewhere over the right thigh or knee. Don't forget to lift the chest. And then turn a bit to the side until you feel, okay, this is interesting, I can work with this. I can stay here for a few breaths. And my mind, instead of thinking what's for dinner or what's on your to-do list, let it rest in the body and maybe even focus a bit more on what's happening on the inside. Slowly release. And you've probably heard of there's quite a bit of core activation in yoga. This is a great way to strengthen around the center. So we'll do one tiny little core work exercise, one of the most simple ones that I know, but also one of the most effective ones. So lie on your back and then just lift your shins so they're more or less parallel to the mat, and watch I have my knees more or less above the hips. During this exercise, try not to let the knees come in closer to the chest, so keep them more or less at a 90 degrees, and then just lift your hands straight up, a bit like a dead bug, you could say. And then from here, all we're going to do is press your lower back into the mat, lift your shoulders a little bit up, and get the sense that you can also lift your hips up a bit. So we're curling the tailbone under, and then set everything down. Again, lift up, reach through the fingertips, but also lift your knees straight up, not closer to you, straight up to the ceiling. Release, couple more, lift up, hollow the belly, press your lower back down, and release. Let's do 3 more. Lift, 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 lift. Can you lift the tailbone, the lower back maybe? And lower. We'll do 2 more. Lift everything up, pull belly down, and release. 1 more, just because we can. You're here, you've shown up, so why not give it your best? And then slowly release. See, and in a very short period of time, we're just warmed up this whole midsection. Now you can roll backwards and forwards a few times, if that feels good. You don't have to do such big rolls, but if you want to, then absolutely go for it. You can even roll all the way to your neck, all the way to your feet. And then after a few times rocking backwards and forwards, we're going to come up into a forward fold. You might even do this without using your hands, if that's available, or it might probably take you a bit more practice. So plant your feet. Whatever touches the mat in yoga, that's the most important part as the foundation of the pose. And don't worry about your tight hamstring, just bend your knees a little bit and hang the spine down over the legs. Release the arms, you can even hold opposite elbows. Relax your head and the neck. Take a deeper breath into the whole back body here. Just bend your knees as much as you need to. We're not aiming to have straight legs, it's not necessary. Release your elbows if you're holding them, and then keep your knees bent as you slowly roll up to standing. Roll the shoulders back, you're coming to the top of your mat or the space you're practicing in. Place hands together at the heart, root down through the feet, and then lift your head up into the skies. Lots of space. We call this mountain pose. So can you embody that, the characteristics, the stability of the mountain? Slow breath in, slow breath out. I'll take you to a half sun salutation, then a full sun salutation. Inhale, lift the arms, lift your gaze, and then exhale, just hinge from your hips, soften the knees a bit, and fold forward, let the head hang. Inhale, hands to shins, lengthen the chest forward. Exhale, we're re-bending. Keep the knees soft, you can bend them as much as you need to. Inhale, rise, we're going all the way up, sweep your arms up to the sky. Exhale, hands return to your chest. Now we'll add a step back where we'll move one leg back into a lunge. Inhale, we'll start at the same lift the arms, slow breath in, and as you exhale, open the arms, bend your knees a bit, and hang down. Inhale, stretch the chest forward as you push your shins with the hands. Exhale, hands down, right foot back. So now this is our lunge. Lower the right knee, and just for a moment, inhale to lift the arms up. It's a really good pose to open the front of the hips here, which gets horribly tight from many hours of sitting. Lower the hands, step back to downward facing dog. Probably one of the most famous yoga poses, and for a good reason. This is amazing to strengthen the shoulders, to open the chest, to stretch the backs of the legs, and also to hang the head upside down a little bit, which has a really beneficial effect on your system. Now inhale, shift the shoulders forward over the hands. We don't want the shoulders far over the hands, we just want them straight above the wrists. Keep the legs strong, keep the belly strong. This is plank pose. And then lower your knees and really slowly lower the rest of your body down. And then just stretch your hands back, turn the palms down, and lift the head, lift the chest, lift the legs a little bit, lift the arms a little bit. So we're lifting everything up except the mid part of our body, which stays grounded. Another breath or so. You're not going very high, but this is really strengthening, really beneficial to strengthen your back. Release the hands down, tuck your toes under. First move the hips back onto your heels, and then find downward facing dog. That's also a good method to measure the distance in your down dog. Make sure that it's a good distance. Inhale here. Exhale, step your right foot forward. Often when you're a bit new to this, you might find the right foot gets a little bit stuck in the middle of your mat. Don't panic. You can always help with the right hand, slide it forward, or if that doesn't help, then lower the other knee down and now bring that right leg through. That's also a really good way. Lift the arms, one breath, low lunge. Exhale, hands down, step forward, forward fold. Remember to keep the knees soft. Inhale, rise, take it all the way up, stretch and lengthen. Exhale, hands to the heart. We'll do this again, starting with the other leg. Here we go. Inhale. Flow with the breath, feel the inhale lift you up, and then the exhale takes you down. Just relax. You can even sigh the breath out. Inhale, flat back, straighten the knees, lengthen the spine. Exhale, hands down, the left foot steps back into a lunge. Softly lower that left knee down, and then for a moment, lift your arms as you inhale. Low lunge. Exhale, hands come down. We're stepping back to down dog. Feel free to do this in a couple of times. If it is hard, this is not an easy pose, it's quite demanding. So push the floor with your hands, with your feet. And if you find your spine is a little bit rounded, then just bend the knees a bit, and this will give you more space to lengthen the hips up and back, away from your hands. Inhale, prepare to step forward. Exhale, step forward. Again, feel free to get stuck. Lower the other knee down. Help that left foot through. Whatever works, make a plan. Lift the arms. If you keep doing this, you'll see it changes quickly. But to get started is probably the most important part. Exhale, step forward. Forward fold. Inhale, rise. Take it all the way up. Hands to the sky. And exhale, hands together in front of the chest. Well done. Take a breath and then step your right foot back. So we're in a wide-legged forward fold. You can face any direction you want, it doesn't matter. All we're going to do is turn the left toes out. Left heel passes through the right heel. And then bend the left knee. If this is really hard, you feel super tight in the inner thighs here, then just shorten the stance a bit. It's going to make it way more accessible. The longer you go, the more intense the stretch is going to be. And then stretch the arms away from each other. This is warrior two pose. Press the feet down. Even pull the feet a little bit towards each other energetically on the mat. They're not actually going to move, but it's going to activate your whole center, and then lift the spine up a little bit from there. Look over the front hand. 3, 2, 1. Lift back up. So we're straightening that left leg. Turn the left toes in. Feet are parallel again. Now turn the right toes out. Heels are more or less in the same line. And then bend the right knee until you feel a good stretch in the inner thighs. If it's too much, shorten the stance. If you can't feel anything, then go wider. And then once you're steady, reach the arms out to the side. We're aiming to keep the right knee above the right ankle. And don't allow the right knee to collapse in here. So keep it a little bit above that ankle by engaging the outer hip muscles here. So pulling the right hip back. Stretch the arms away. Look forward over the right fingertips. 3, 2, 1. Slowly straighten the front leg. Turn the right toes in. Hands to your hips. And start to fold forward. Forward, forward, forward. At some point, you stop. That's the sign that you need to stop. Your hamstrings just told you. Lower the hands down here. Feel free to even bend the knees a bit, there's no problem. And just take a few breaths here. Of course, if there's more space, you can keep walking the hands further back and the head will lower, but don't be in a rush to get there. The process is more important than the destination. So just stay in a pose where you feel a nice length in the inner thighs, a bit of hamstring in the backs of the thighs, and maybe even lower back. Really good pose to do quite often, maybe even daily. And we call this wide-legged forward fold, or Prasarita Padottanasana in the Sanskrit language, which you'll sometimes hear in yoga classes. Nice, slowly come back up. Nice, and then we'll just make our way onto our back here. Really simple. Place the feet about hip distance apart. I know you can't see your feet, but just do your best to place them parallel to each other. Not too far from the buttocks, but not touching all the way either. And then all we're going to do is press the feet down to lift the hips up. This is called bridge pose. Really amazing to strengthen the glutes, the hamstrings, and the muscles along the lower back. So see if you can feel the whole back body contracting. Press your feet down and then pull the heels a little bit towards you. This is going to get into hamstrings, the backs of the thighs. And then really squeeze the buttocks to push the hips up, but don't allow the hips to splay out too wide. Nice. Take a few breaths here. Lift the chest, lift the belly. Feel this strength in your back body to push you up. 3, 2, 1. Slowly lower down. Take a breath. And then just place your feet a bit wider on the edges of the mat. Lower both knees to the one side. You can spread the arms wide. And then lower both knees to the other side. So like windscreen wipers, repeat this a few times. Notice the feet are quite wide. When the knees come down, the knee is more or less close to the other foot. And do this a couple more times, just rotating the thigh bones. It's really beneficial for the lower back as well. Nice. And then straighten the legs, straighten your arms. Let the palms turn open. Let the feet flop out. Get really comfortable. We're going to do 1 minute of our final resting pose, which is called Shavasana. I know it's not a lot of time, but how quickly can you drop your body down? Can you release all the tension in your tissues? Let all the muscles soften. Let the shoulders and hips, spine relax. And let the face release its tension as well. Nice, take a few deeper breaths. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers. You can bend your knees, roll over to one side. And then use your hand to push up into a seated position. And place your hands at the heart. Touch your hands to your forehead, to the heart center. And then bow to yourself on your mat. Namaste, everybody. Thank you so much for practicing with me, for giving this a try, for stepping onto your mat. Maybe you don't even have a mat yet, but you gave it a try. And just notice how you feel. How does your breath move? How do your shoulders, your spine, your hips feel? And how is your energy level? And probably, or I'm hoping at least, you have noticed a positive change compared to when you just started about 20 minutes ago. Thank you, and see you here again soon. Give me a subscribe or a like on this channel if you like it, or send this practice to somebody who would benefit from introductory yoga session. Thank you and stay well.